MEGATRIVIA Slam! Super MEGATRIVIA Slam! Super MEGATRIVIA Slam! Super MEGATRIVIA Slam!
Hello there, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Okay, so while we're building the audience, let me tell you guys how the game is played. Okay, what I want you to do is either get a piece of paper. There's going to be 3 rounds of 3 questions with a bonus question at the end. And you can play along as you go. You're going to write down the answers. We're going to do 3 rounds. I'm going to ask 3 questions, multiple choice. And then you guys can write down the answer. Then I'm going to double back and give you the answers for each round. That's it. There's no wacky scoring system. There are no apps to download. There's nothing. There's just me and you guys are playing. You can either play alone, or you can go get somebody in your apartment or in your house, sit on the couch, sit on the duvet, sit on a chair, sit on a beanbag, whatever makes you happy. And then you guys can play against each other. See who wins. That's basically it. You do your own scorekeeping. I don't keep score. You guys do your own scorekeeping. So, everybody got all that? Good. Here we go. Do your own scoring. It's multiple choice. It's all pop culture, entertainment, movie, and TV trivia. And the point values are based on the number question that I'm doing. Question number 1, 1 point. Question number 2, 2 points. And then at the end of each round, I'll give you a second to do some math. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Round number 1, question number 1, multiple choice. Here is your question. What decade was Lord of the Rings published? Here are your 4 choices. A, 1940s. B, 1950s. C, 1960s, or D, you guessed it, 1970s. I'll read each question twice. I will not give you the answers until the end of the 3rd question. Question number 1. What decade was Lord of the Rings published? A, 1940s. B, 1950s. C, 1960s. And D, 1970s. Which one of those, which decade was Lord of the Rings published? And when I do circle back, I will give you a fun fact, because trivia is supposed to be fun. Alright, got your answers down? Moving on, 2 more questions to go, and then I'll circle back and give you guys the answers. Question number 2. Which of the following films had the highest number of on-screen deaths? Alright, which of the following films had the highest number of on-screen deaths? It's a fun question. A, Saving Private Ryan. B, Starship Troopers. C, Rambo. Or D, Titanic. I'll read each question twice. Which of the following films had the highest number of on-screen deaths? A, Saving Private Ryan. B, Starship Troopers. C, Rambo. Or D, Titanic. Make your guess now. If you are leaving me a comment, you can leave a comment if you want. I'll be more than happy to read your comments. I like reading comments. And I'll read them after the fact. I can't read them now because, doing trivia. Alright, you got that? 1 more question to go. And then I will circle back and give you the answers and a fun fact for each answer. Question number 3. You guys ready? Here we go. Boom. What Texas city did Beyonce grow up in? She grew up in a Texas city. She was born and raised in Texas. Name the Texas city where Beyonce grew up. A, Austin. B, Dallas. C, Houston. Or D, El Paso. Which one of those 4 was Beyonce born and raised? Is it A, Austin? It's all in Texas. A, Austin. B, Dallas. C, Houston. Or D, El Paso? Which one of those 4 did Beyonce grow up in? Write down your answers now. All right, you guys ready? All right, so here you go. Question number 1. Now remember, you guys are doing your own scorekeeping. Question number 1 is worth 1 point. Here's your question. Decade Lord of the Rings was published. Here's your answer. The answer is B, the 1950s. All right, so that was 1 point. B, the 1950s. Fun fact, Lord of the Rings. Christopher Lee was said to have read the Lord of the Rings trilogy every year of his life until he passed away in 2015. Trivia question right there. When did Christopher Lee pass away? Lee was also the only person involved with the Lord of the Rings films who actually met Tolkien. He met him by chance at a bar at Oxford. And just imagine how cool that conversation must have been. So yeah, he was the only guy to meet Mr. Tolkien. Let's call the whole thing off. Moving on, question number 2. This one's going to be worth 2 points. So if you got the first one right, that was 1 point. Second one, 2 points. Question number 2. Which of the following films had the highest number of on-screen deaths? The answer, that would be D, Titanic. You want to guess how many? 307 on-screen deaths. We're not going to count whatever happened off-screen. I don't even know. But yeah, Titanic had 307 on-screen. Here's your fun fact about that. So it's impossible to imagine the film without Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. But rumor has it that they were not the first choices for their characters. Get this. Gwyneth Paltrow and Matthew McConaughey were reportedly in talks to star before things fell through. So insert your Matthew McConaughey jokes in there as well. James Cameron, let's see here. With that said, don't expect James Cameron to reveal the truth. He said, quote, "I will neither confirm nor deny that." So, I don't know. But hey, listen, 307 on-screen deaths, so they, Matthew McConaughey dodged the bullet. So that was 2 points, if you got that one correct. It's only a first round. We got 2 more rounds to go. Moving on, question number 3. Name the Texas city. This will be for 3 points. Name the Texas city that Beyonce grew up in. The answer, that would be C, Houston. Or for you Superman 2 fans, the planet Houston. So yeah, she grew up in Houston, Texas. So that would be 3 points if you got that right. So mark down 3 points for yourself. Fun fact, Beyonce's first pregnancy announcement at the end of her performance of Love on Top during the 2011 VMAs on MTV earned the Guinness Book of World Records title for the most tweets per second. There were 8,868 tweets after she announced her pregnancy. So there you go. All right, guys. So there you go. That was your first round. I'm going to get a drink over here. I'll keep my beer off to the side. So it was 1 point for question number 1, 2 points for 2, 3 points for 3. So do your math right now. Hopefully you did well. All right, moving on. Be round number 2. We're doing entertainment trivia, multiple choice. I read the 3 questions, right? Multiple choice. You choose. And then we'll go back and I'll give you the answers. Moving on. Question number 1 for round number 2. Which Looney Tunes character was introduced first? Which Looney Tunes character was introduced first? Was it A, Daffy Duck, B, Porky Pig, C, Elmer Fudd, or D, Bugs Bunny? Boom. Looney Tunes character for 1 point. Which one was introduced first? Was it A, Daffy Duck, B, Porky Pig, C, Elmer Fudd, or D, Bugs Bunny? Write down your answers. I'll read 2 more questions, and then I will circle back and give you guys the answers. And a fun fact, because it's good to know things. All right, here we go. Question number 2. Which Indiana Jones movie has won the most Oscars? Which Indiana Jones movie has won the most Oscars? Have you heard of the Oscars? They're kind of like the Oscars, only they're on the lower cable channels. But which Indiana Jones movie has won the most Oscars? Here we go. A, Raiders of the Lost Ark. B, Temple of Doom. C, Last Crusade. Or D, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Which one of those four have won the most Oscars? A, Raiders of the Lost Ark. B, The Temple of Doom. C, The Last Crusade, Junior. Or D, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Boom. Which one of those four, for 2 points, won the most Oscars? Write down your answers. I'll give you a second while I take a sip of my beer. I invite you to drink along responsibly, whatever you're drinking. It's the quarantine, so we can do whatever we want. I'll make a trivia drinking game. That'd be fun. Moving on, question number 3. This will be worth 3 points, because it's question number 3. Which of the following musical artists do not have a song featured on the soundtrack of Guardians of the Galaxy #1? The first film in the series. Which of the following musical artists do not have a song featured on the soundtrack of Guardians of the Galaxy? Here are your choices. A, Cheap Trick. B, the Jackson 5. C, David Bowie. Or D, the Runaways. If you don't know who any of these people are, you're probably under 40. But which of the following musical artists do not have a song featured on the soundtrack of Guardians of the Galaxy? A, first film. A, Cheap Trick. B, Jackson 5. C, David Bowie. Or D, the Runaways. Write down your answer. Remember your answer. Tattoo it on your friend. Just make sure they're okay with this. All right, you guys good? All right. This is round number 2. Here we go, folks. Here are your answers. Question number 1. Which Looney Tunes character was introduced first? The answer. That's B, Porky Pig. Porky the Pig was the first Looney Tunes character ever introduced. That would be worth 1 point. Here's your fun fact. The character was introduced in the short film I Haven't Got a Hat, which was first released on March 2nd, 1935. Directed by Friz Freleng, studio head Leon Schlesinger suggested that Freleng do a cartoon version of the popular Our Gang films, Little Rascals. Porky only has a minor role in the first one, but Porky quickly became popular. Now, his name, Porky Pig, came from 2 brothers who were childhood classmates of Freleng, named Porky and Piggy. So there you go. All right, 1935, first Looney Tunes character was Porky Pig. Moving on, that was worth 1 point. Question number 2 for 2 points. Now, these points are cumulative, just so you know. So your first round, whatever you got, add it to this round, yada, yada. Moving on, question number 2. Which Indiana Jones movie has won the most Oscars? The answer, that would be A, Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was the first one. It's strange, I've been noticing now, because when I first saw it, it was just called Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? But now when you see them on digital, they're called Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, to, I guess, go in line with all the others. Here's a fun fact for you. So that's worth 2 points if you got that right. Producer George Lucas, have you heard of him? Made a few things. He first told director Steven Spielberg, another indie filmmaker, about his idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark when they were both on a vacation in Hawaii in May of 1977. Star Wars was coming out that weekend, and George Lucas was actually afraid that the movie would bomb at the box office. What? So, but the film, of course, broke the bank that weekend and continued on to just make quadrillions of dollars, which prompted the two to ponder what they wanted to do next. So Spielberg told Lucas that he always wanted to make a James Bond film. Lucas promised him that he had that beat, and proceeded to lay out his idea for a swashbuckling throwback adventure movie based on the Saturday matinee serials that would eventually become Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, amazing, right? Lucas actually thought that Star Wars would bomb, which, when Star Wars first came out, it actually broke the mold of science fiction films, because before then, every science fiction film was just ended really weirdly or had weird Moog synthesizer music in the background, and it wasn't really an adventure. And if you look at it, Star Wars is kind of like a fighter pilot movie done as a science fiction movie. So they kind of mixed and matched both genres, and then they kind of carry that over into other stuff. But, you know, they're billionaires, so God bless them. All right, so those were 2 points if you got that. Moving on, question number 3. This is going to be for 3 points. The last question in round number 2, and then we'll move on to the final round. Which of the following musical artists do not have a song featured on the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy? The first one, the answer, that would be A. Yep, Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick. If you're a fan of Cheap Trick, there you go. One of the members of Cheap Trick, actually, for the last couple of years that I worked as a writer for Cracked magazine, Cracked was kind of like Mad, kind of like the bastard cousin of Mad magazine, and I wrote for them for like 15 years. But the final couple of years, Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick actually ran it. So that was kind of cool. Fun fact for this. Those were 3 points if you got it. Jason Momoa, some people may know him, best known for playing Khal Drogo as well as Aquaman in Game of Thrones, was actually set to star as Drax in the movie, but he dropped out. Dave Bautista took it over. He did that because he didn't want to be typecast as a giant warrior man. Instead, of course, he starred in Aquaman and a few other things. So even before that, I think he was in one of the Stargate series as well. So he was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's what happened. But he's actually a pretty funny guy if you check him out. All right, so there you go, folks. That was 3 points if you got that one. All right, guys, have you done the math? All right. Here's your final round, and at the end of this round, we're going to have a bonus question for 5 points. But in this round, every question is worth the number of the question. Heard my dog barking in the background. Here we go, folks. Question number 1. All entertainment, multiple choice questions. What real-life killer inspired Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, the movie Psycho? Name the real-life killer that inspired the movie Psycho. Is it A, Joel Rifkin, B, Richard Speck, C, Ed Gein, or D, Charles Manson? Which one of those 4 real-life killer inspired Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho? I'll give you choices one more time. A, Joel Rifkin, B, Richard Speck, C, Ed Gein, that's Gein, or D, Charles Manson. Which one of those 4, for 1 point, inspired Psycho? Make your guess now, as I awkwardly stare at you. Having a good time? I'm having a good time during all this craziness. Got to break it up, guys. You got to get into a structure, get into a routine. That's what gets you through the day. All right, 2 more questions to go, then a bonus question. Question number 2, for 2 points. Which of Seinfeld's 4 main characters did not appear in the first episode? Which of Seinfeld's 4 main characters did not appear in the show's first episode? Here are your choices. Obviously, A, Kramer, B, George, C, Jerry, or D, Elaine. Any Seinfeld fans out there? There are entire trivia shows dedicated to Seinfeld. Which of Seinfeld's 4 main characters did not, that's the international symbol for not, did not appear in the show's first episode? Is it A, Kramer, B, George, C, Jerry, or D, Elaine? Write down your answers. We got 1 more question to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the final question, and then I'm going to go back and give you the answers. And then once I'm done, I'll give you the bonus question. And then you have to write down the answer for that one. So here's your final question in this round, before we do the bonus. Question number 3. What British rock band pioneered the use of the light show? Not laser light show. It's light show. What British rock band pioneered the use of the light show? There are lasers involved, but the technical term is light show. Is it A, Pink Floyd? B, The Beatles? C, Led Zeppelin? Or D, The Who? Once again, if you're a little younger, you may have no idea what I'm talking about, but hopefully you do. British rock band pioneered the use of the light show. A, Pink Floyd. B, The Beatles. C, Led Zeppelin. Or D, The Who. This will be worth 3 points. Write down your answers. Hope you're having a good time. I'm Steve. Nice to meet you. Alright, so I'm going to give you the answers for 1 through 3. And then we're going to go back and I will give you a bonus question. And that'll be worth 5 points. But for now, each question is worth the number of the question. So question number 1, for 1 point. What real-life killer inspired Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho? The answer? It's C. Ed Gein. Yeah, Ed Gein is the name of the serial killer. Hey, a fun fact about a serial killer. The novel from which the film was adapted is loosely based on the notorious murderer, Ed Gein. Like Norman Bates, Gein had a domineering mother to whom he kept a shrine and dressed in women's clothes. Gein lived just 40 miles from Psycho author Robert Bloch. So he took what really happened, dressed it up a little bit, and then made the movie. And then they made a remake of it a little later on, which was pretty interesting. Moving on, question number 2. So that was worth 1 point if you got it. Number 2, which of the Seinfeld's 4 main characters did not appear in the show's first episode? What do you think? What was that? I didn't hear you. Alright, the answer, that would be D. Yeah, Elaine. Elaine was not in the first episode. Here's your fun fact. During a 2014 Reddit Ask Me Anything, Jerry Seinfeld admitted that both he and co-creator Larry David were surprised by how Seinfeld earned its show about nothing moniker. The pitch for the show, the real pitch, that he said Larry and I did in 1988, was that they wanted to show how a comedian gets his material. And I believe it was actually called the Seinfeld Chronicles when it first started, but there was a TV show called the Marshall Chronicles happening at the same time, but that lasted for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes. It lasted for 1 season, and then it just became Seinfeld. They didn't want to confuse the two. So yeah, the show about nothing was just a joke in an episode many years later, and they were both surprised that it got known as that. But really, the whole show is about how a comedian gets his material. So there you go. All right, so that was worth 2 points. Question number 3. For 3 points. The British rock band that pioneered the use of the light show. Here comes your answer. It's A. Pink Floyd. Yeah. I think anybody who grew up in the 70s, early 80s has been to a Laser Floyd show. Either there or at the planetarium. One of the two. So yeah, Pink Floyd for 3 points. If you got that answer, that was A. Here's your fun fact. Now, if you're a Pink Floyd fan, you probably already know this answer, but this is something I've actually always wondered. How did they get their name, Pink Floyd? Let's see here. The names Pink and Floyd come from the two of Syd Barrett's favorite Carolina bluesmen, Pink Anderson and Floyd Council. Merge those two together, you got Pink Floyd. So yep, it's all based on the blues. All right, so that was 3 points. Now do your math. Okay, do all the math there. Add it to the previous ones. All right, guys, so here we go. This is going to be your bonus question. Okay? It's going to be worth 5 points. You don't lose any points if you get it wrong. But if you get it right, you're going to add 5 points to your score. Here we go. For a bonus 5 points. This is going to be an either or. Very simple. It's one or the other. For 5 bonus points, what Dallas business was founded earlier? Was it GameStop, or was it Blockbuster? All right, those are one of your two choices for 5 points. You get this right, you get 5 points. Name the Dallas business that was founded earlier. Was it GameStop or was it Blockbuster? Which one of those two do you think is the answer? I'll give you a chance. While you're thinking about it, you see, kids, Blockbuster was a video store. You'd have to get up and go to a video store and choose something. GameStop was kind of similar. You had to buy video games. Strange world before all this stuff happened. So what do you think? GameStop or Blockbuster? Which came first for 5 points? You ready for your answer? Did you choose? Here we go. It's GameStop. Yeah, GameStop was first. Here's your fun fact. In 1983, Texas entrepreneurs James McCurry and Gary Cousin opened a software store named Babbage's. You remember that one? And that was named after 19th century computer pioneer Charles Babbage. Obscure. They opened at a Dallas shopping mall in 1994. Okay. The company merged with Software Etc. before being acquired by Barnes & Noble in 1999 and changing its name to GameStop. Executive Dan DiMatteo took the name after Bookstop, a chain he remembered from the 1980s. So there you go, folks. There it is. 5 points. And that's the whole shooting match. All right, guys. Well, I hope you had some fun. At this point, you should be doing math. All right? And you guys can figure out your own scores because I don't want to. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with you guys. My name is Steve. This has been Steve's Trivia. Right here on Steve's Facebook page. I'll talk to you soon.
Super MEGATRIVIA Slam! Super MEGATRIVIA Slam! Super MEGATRIVIA Slam! Super MEGATRIVIA Slam!